According to Daniel 9:25, we are commanded to know and understand the 70 Shabuah prophecy, and that way you can be ready for what's coming next. And in fact, that's exactly what we had already covered. The 70 Shabuah, we already checked that box, right? And I showed you some important dates. This is what we covered. The 2300 evenings and mornings. March 11th, 2020 is when it starts. June 28th, 2026. That is the judgment period of the Western countries where Abraham's seed is. Times, time, and half a time. Really, it should say time, times, and half a time. I kind of wrote that in there. Anyways. March 11th, 2020. I'm saying it's Wednesday, August 23rd, which is 3.5 years from March 11th, 2020, when the Tamid was taken away, when the places in the sanctuaries were trampled underfoot, when Zebach and Minkah, sacrifice and offering, were taken away. It was all on the prophetic date of March 11, 2020 that Daniel had told us about. So yeah, anyways, the times, time, and half a time were delivered into what I'm saying is the male goat with the one huge horn, which is the Klaus Schwab in the World Economic Forum. That is August 23rd, 2023 is when that will kind of end, but it's not going to end entirely, because just 30 days after that, we're going to see the Abomination of Desolation on Friday, September 22nd, 2023. And again, that is the countdown. That is now what I'm going to be basically talking about quite a bit in this podcast, now that we've laid that foundation. If you have not checked out episodes 2 through 7 leading up to this point, you got to go check that out, because what we're going to be talking about next is an important date that I actually had forgotten about. I totally screwed up. I forgot about this important date. All right, and so the title of this talk is going to be called The Countdown to the Abomination of Desolation, but specifically we're going to be focusing on the 45-day blessing, which is something that I forgot to bring up. So what is the 45-day blessing? It's right there in Daniel 12, chapter 12, 11, and verse 12. So Daniel chapter 12, verses 11 and 12. Let's just read there. And from the time that the daily is taken away there, and the abomination of desolation is set up, 1,290 days is what it says, right? Again, when you see words in italicized, that really just means that it's been added by the English translator. So that sacrifice, there shall be, that's all been added. And then Daniel chapter 12, verse 12. Blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days. Okay, so again, I just mentioned that and sacrifice have been added. Remember what we said though in the very previous episode. Tamid was taken away on March 11th, 2020. Well, what was the Tamid? We were told that it was the prayers of the set apart people or the saints. It also meant sanctuary place, like that was the word that was used in Daniel 8:11. And it could be places of worship of all kinds. So what does Daniel 8:11 says? Well, it says, like in the New King James, he even exalted himself as high as the prince of the host, and by him the daily were taken away, and the place of his sanctuary was cast down. Well, that's really weird. It doesn't make any sense, but I showed you that we can actually more correctly translate this after understanding the entire 70 Shabuah of Daniel's really secret, mysterious prophetic prophecy that was sealed until the time of the end. Now we understand it because we're in the time of the end. From 1996 to 2044 is the very final Shabuah, the final week of Daniel, 49-year period. And we can translate that to say, Daniel 8:11, he even exalted himself as high as Yeshua, the prince of the host of the seed of Abraham. And by him, the prayers, meaning by him, the male goat, this power, this world power, the prayers of the saints were cast down, and their places of worship were cast down. So again, the places of worship, the sanctuary, this can refer to idolatrous places, pagan places, Christian, whatever. But what's being described here perfectly describes the vast majority of modern day churches as far as the pagan and idolatrous aspect of it. You know, most people look at this verse and they're like, oh, it's a third temple in Jerusalem. No. The word that's being used there, mikdas, that could be referring to idolatrous or pagan thing. And the vast majority of modern day churches, they're 501c3, they've signed all these contracts, they're legal entities under Caesar, under the government, whatever. Here in the United States, it's 501c3, but I know in different countries it's different. They've all forsaken God's Torah, and they practice lawless traditions and customs of men, including but not limited to Sunday worship, Easter, Christmas, instead of Saturday, Sabbath, which is the seventh day of the week. Sunday's the first day of the week. And all of the Torah, which is, yes, feast days, but also the year of land rest. The Torah of the Nida, the Torah of the seats. Like, there's so many things. The clean and the unclean. All these things. The churches don't teach God's law, God's instructions. They say it's done away with. And so they are going to be judged, as we've already looked at. And so, but from the time that the Tamid is taken away, which again, that was March 11th, there shall be 1,290 days. So again, we look at that and we say, okay, 1,290 from March 11th, 2020. That brings us to Friday, September 22nd, 2023. That's when the Abomination of Desolation is going to be set up, which I've already shown you. That's nuclear. That's a nuclear desolation. It'll most likely be a preemptive strike against Israel, the United States, all of its allies. We are told it's going to happen in Jerusalem, so we know for sure Israel is going to be attacked. But I'm telling you that the whole United States is going to be also wiped out basically overnight. And so if we look at this, though, it says in verse 12, the 1,335 days. I have it on the screen here, right? If we take that number and we subtract it from the 1,290, we get 45 days. So basically what it's saying is, blessed is he who waits and comes to the 45 days after the Abomination of Desolation. And if you do that, if you add 45 days to September 22nd, 2023, which is the same thing as adding 1,335 days to March 11th, 2020, you will arrive at Monday, November 6th, 2023. Whoa, and this is a big date. This is the 45-day blessing that I forgot to bring up. Because now we're going to look at, we're being told if we wait until 45 days after the Abomination of Desolation, that you and I will be blessed. But what exactly is this talking about? What does it mean, blessed is he who waits and comes to the 1,335 days? 45 days after the Abomination of Desolation. Okay, I pulled up all the Hebrew here that we're going to be looking at. It's in the King James, of course. Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh. Let's just start looking at the first half of this verse, okay? Blessed is he that waiteth and cometh. So the word here being used is eshed, which is happy, happiness, blessedness. Look at the places where this is used in the Bible. So when it says happy, blessed is the person that reaches 45 days. Blessed is the person that lives to actually reach the November 6, 2023. Look at some of the places this is used. Deuteronomy 33:29. Happy are you, O Israel, who is like you, a people saved by Yehovah, the shield of your help, the sword of your majesty. Your enemies shall submit to you, and you shall tread down their high places. This is actually the first time that this word is used in the Bible, eshed. 1 Kings is pretty cool. 2 Chronicles 9:7. So 1 Kings 10:8 and 2 Chronicles 9:7 are the same verse, because those two books do that. They kind of overlap. Job 5:17. Let's look at that. Behold, happy is the man whom God corrects. Therefore, do not despise the chastening of the Almighty. That's an interesting verse. I really like some of these. These are all in the Psalms. The very first Psalm in the Bible uses the word eshed. Blessed is the man who walks not in the counsel of the ungodly, nor stands in the path of sinners, nor sits in the seat of the scornful. So blessed, eshed, happy is the man. Another interesting verse. Kiss the Son, lest he be angry. This is Psalm 2:12. And you perish in the way, when his wrath is kindled but a little. Blessed are those who put his trust in him. Okay, so we I brought up all these verses. I brought up this word and really put a limelight, a spotlight on it, because we need to know what it means to be happy or blessed. And so you see all these things. Most of the time it has to do with God blessing a person or someone understanding God's word and being blessed by understanding God's word, which if you've been tuning into this podcast, you understand God's word unfortunately, way better than most people. And I say unfortunately because I want more people to understand God's word in the context of the 70 Shabua, of the 70 times 49s. But, obviously most people are really closed off to this. They think they already know everything because seminary taught them, or their pastor, their church, their seminaries, their institutions taught them that it's 70 times 7. And no, how could they be wrong? Well, it was sealed until the time of the end. But anyways, blessed are the people who know their God, who are forgiven by their God, who follow God's instructions. That's basically what all these verses in the Psalms and all these different places are saying. So what does it mean to wait? Haka, I believe is how you say that. But to wait, tarry, to wait, to long for. Okay, some of the first places this is used. Law of first mention, right? Whenever we study the Bible, I always look at the first places a word is used. This particular word, there's a couple of interesting places where it's first used. I really like Psalm 33:20, which is the 5th time that the word shows up in the entire Bible. Psalm 33:20. Our soul waits for Yehovah. He is our help and our shield. Isaiah 8:17. This is the 7th time it's used in the Bible. And I will wait on Yehovah, who hides his face from the house of Jacob, and I will hope in him. The reason I'm really putting an arrow on these two verses because it ties directly into what we're going to be reading next. But it says, blessed is he that waits and cometh. In the King James, that's what it says, cometh. I know it's kind of weird, right? Shakespearean English. Blessed is he who waits and arrives. We could say arrives, to approach, to reach. What I find interesting about this, if you look at the first few places this is used, the 6th time in the Bible that this word reached is used, which is naga. Then he dreamed. This is Jacob, actually. This is Jacob's ladder. To Genesis 28:12. Then he dreamed, and behold, a ladder was set up on the earth, and its top reached to heaven. Its top, naga, to heaven. And the angels of God were descending and descending upon it. So what I'm going to say is that this word reached has something to do with an experience supernaturally with God, which I'm going to show you. That's why I'm pointing this verse out, because it makes so much sense when you dig into this. So, 45 days, the 45-day blessing, after September 22nd, 2023, after a month and a half of hell, the most horrific things that you've only seen portrayed in Hollywood movies. And even they do a half-assed job of showing you what exactly is going to happen. The worst things you could possibly think of after nuclear war. We are being told that the survivors will be happy as they wait and arrive to the 45-day mark. But my question is, obviously, why? What exactly is there to be happy about? Well, we're given the answer in Daniel 11, verses 31 to 35. That's the context. This is where we understand, oh, that's what it means to be happy. It says, and forces shall be mustered by him, and they shall defile the sanctuary fortress. They shall take away the daily and place there the abomination of desolation. Again, that's going to be happening next year. Those who do wickedly against the covenant, he shall corrupt with flattery, but the people who know their God shall be strong and carry out. The word great exploits is totally inserted. Daniel 11:33. And those of the people who understand shall instruct many, yet for days they shall fall by the sword and flame, by captivity and plundering. Now when they fall, they shall be aided with a little help, but many shall join them by intrigue. And some of the understanding shall fall, to refine them, purify them, make them white until the time of the end, because it is still for the appointed time. All right, so what I'm going to show you, and what I'm going to focus on like a laser beam right here, is Daniel 11:34. When they fall, they shall be aided with a little help. That's what it's talking about. Let's break it down. Daniel 11:34. What does it mean that when they fall? What does it mean? What do these Hebrew words mean? Let's look at the first one. When they fall, to cause to stumble, to bring to injury, to ruin, to overthrow. When they are ruined or injured, they will be surrounded, protected, or aided. That's what azar means. Surrounded by who or what? How does that fit? Ezer, it means one who helps. You look into this word, it's God himself. Go look into it, right? Go and see how this word is used. It's amazing. And then we see this word little. It literally is little, small, littleness, fewness, too little, yet a little. Just a little bit of help. When the survivors that call upon God's name fall, they will be aided with a little help. And then the word ezed is used again. So one who helps, one who helps. So it's when you look at this very literally, it's interesting. But God is going to be there helping. So it's my theory that the God Most High is going to begin to make himself known to his people just a little bit, and surround them with miracles, starting from this point of Monday, November 6, 2023, moving forward. They will be given a little aid. They will be given help to stand through various trials. They will be helped. We've read about this. If you've studied, the history of believers throughout from the first century all the way to the present, you've seen the persecutions. You've seen people getting burned at the stake. You've seen, you don't even have to read history like Fox's Book of Martyrs. You can just look at the book of Daniel. And when his friends were thrown in the fiery pit, in the furnace, by Nebuchadnezzar, because they wouldn't bow down to the idol that he set up, there was somebody else in the fire with them. That's the kind of stuff we're talking about here. But also, watch out. You got to watch out, because what does the second half of Daniel 11:34 have to say? But many shall cleave or join to them with flatteries. So, lava, I believe is the word. I'm not a super big expert on Hebrew, but There's a word being used twice here, and it means to join, to be joined, to cause, to borrow, to lend to join oneself to be joined unto. So people are going to join. They're going to see whether it's people's properties that are being blessed. Maybe there's only rainfall falling on their properties. Maybe they're the ones that are receiving supernatural provisions of oil and flour. Maybe God's people are the only ones that are going to have certain provisions, and people are going to show up at their doorstep and say, hey, I want to join you. I want to borrow from you. I want to lend from you. I want to partner with you. Oh, yes, but here's the problem. They're going to use flattery. This word is so cool. It's only used 4 times in the Bible. Halakaka. Flattery, slipperiness, fine promises, smoothness. They're going to be using deceitful language. Let me show you how this word is used in the Bible. Halakaka. Flatteries. Only used 4 times. Psalm 35:6. Let their way be dark and slippery. Let the angel of Jehovah pursue them. So we're being shown here that this is something that's not right. It's evil. Jeremiah 23:12. Therefore their way shall be to them like slippery ways. In the darkness they shall be driven on and fall in them, for I will bring disaster on them. The year of their punishment, says Jehovah. And then the other 2 places we see it are Daniel 11:21 and 11:34, which we're looking at 11:34 right now. But my point is, this word, this flattery, this slipperiness, the fine promises, it's something that's evil. It's evil. It's slippery. It's worthy of punishment, according to Jeremiah 23:12. So what I'm trying to say is people are going to try to join the survivors of the nuclear war that are being helped by the God Most High with various miracles and provisions.